Thank you for joining me, Diana Master, on NMH at 1, where we highlight the news making waves in Namibia and beyond, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports and economic news. Coming up in this broadcast, judgment on sodomy law challenge in May. Don't be used as a tool, Lucato tells the new Katima councillor. And Florin awaits a decision on early release appeal. Follow all of our programs on 102.com or DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 in Namibia. Stick around, midday news update coming right up. In today's midday news update, Minister of Works and Transport John Mutorwa yesterday afternoon officially opened the Rundu Trade Fair exhibition. There are 114 exhibitors at this year's expo. Kenya Kambowe reports.
Now the trade has started, business has started, but we're just adding some kind of an official flavor by cutting this ribbon to symbolize to the world, to our country and to the town of Rundu that this event, the 2023 Rundu Annual Trade Fair, is now officially and publicly open. So, and we will close, we open the door to see whether there's things to trade or maybe it's just a building.
Namibia right after the break. Stay with NMH at 1.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Getting into today's visual news clips, Professor Nina Abuki-Peter from the Uganda Makerere University, former and founding Dean of the East African School of Higher Education Studies and Development, speaks on the importance of international university collaboration during the dialogue on innovative higher education strategies, National Multiplication Training. The National Multiplication Training is tailored to impart crucial skills and knowledge on strengthening internal quality assurance and study program development in higher education institutions in Namibia, where Tuwene Shikage reports.
I am Professor Nema Boki from Uganda, and I'm here at the invitation of the University of Namibia as one of the facilitators for this program of quality assurance, and even recently in July I had a chance to go to Germany, also under the University of Namibia, although I'm from Uganda, for the National Multiplication Training, which we are now imparting to these other participants from across this region, the SADC region. I'm a professor of higher education, management and development, and publishing quality assurance and higher education. Mm-hmm. And so even one time in 2018 I was here at the invitation of the National Council for Higher Education as an expert, a quality assurance expert for programs review for NUST, Namibia University of Science and Technology. And I'm happy again to be here. And my expectation that this conference, this workshop, is going to yield a lot of fruits for the good of our country here and the entire region. In the south.
Yes. Right. Could you tell me what is the importance of international collaboration when it comes to quality assurance for higher education institutes?
Yes, you know, we talk about collaboration and partnerships. which is very important. And when you partner with other places, with other agencies, it is you who stands to benefit. Because there is what we call in total quality management, sharing learning with others. So when you collaborate, when you partner, you are sharing learning. You give what you have, and you also get from other people. In fact, it's said that there is nobody who is too poor in order not to receive. Just as there is nobody who is too rich. There is nobody who is too rich in order not to receive. And there is no one who is too poor in order not to give. So collaborations, partnerships, you give and take. It is reciprocity.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
The Swakopmund municipality has recently initiated a pilot project involving the installation of CCTV cameras. One camera is located at the intersection of Daniel Kamo and Rakotoka Street near the traffic lights, while the other is positioned at the junction close to Strong Bar, situated at the corner of Friederried and Francisca Faniel Streets in Tamariskia. This proactive step is in response to the rising concerns regarding increased criminal activities in the town. Precious Ngituanapo reports.
Yes, Council decided in a crime prevention meeting that we will have CCTV cameras at different intersections and crime hotspots. So there was two companies that was so willingful to give us the green light that they will install two cameras on a pilot project which will run up from today up to end of December this year, so that Council can decide based on the specifications and the price, this is what we want and this is the cost for the whole cameras. It's just to prevent crime, and then at the later stage we want to do traffic law enforcement. So hopefully it will help to reduce crime, and especially when we have accident at this intersection. So the first camera will be installed where we are now busy at Daniel Kamo, Daniel Kamo, Rakatoka and Kubias Neko intersection in the robot. The second one will be installed at the Strong Bottle Store, Francisca Faniel Friederriede intersection, just for the period for this 2 months.
Thank you so much, Mr. Klute.
Stick around after the break. The Namibian Sun leads us into the newspaper review segment.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. We now take a look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. Starting us off, the Namibian Sun reports that SWAPO Politburo Bemba Sisa Namanje says the government should have put a provision into the Veterans Act that entry-level jobs be reserved for children of the liberation struggle. This, he said, would have avoided a cabinet decision in favor of the welfare of struggle kids being challenged legally. Namanje made the remarks at a Namibian Exile Kids Association meeting held last weekend by its Commerce branch. Cabinet in 2021 decided to reserve certain jobs for children of the liberation struggle. On page 3, Thomas Florin, the Swakopmund butcher who murdered his wife, dismembered and cooked her remains in 1998, appeared in court on Monday for a third attempt at early release, with a verdict set to be delivered on 15 March 2024. In 2014, Florin, along with 26 other applicants, approached the High Court seeking early release from their life sentences. This application and a subsequent appeal were dismissed. In 2022, Florin made another unsuccessful attempt. The current application was brought before the Windhoek High Court in January. The applicant's persistent legal action are considered an abuse of the legal process, the state said in its court documents filed on the 23rd of October. On the front page of the Republican, the overall expenditure for the financial year 2022-2023 has been revised upwards from the 86.4 billion Namibian dollars initially projected in February to 89 billion Namibian dollars. This was revealed by Finance Minister Ipumbushimi yesterday in Parliament when he tabled the midterm review budget. The operational budget was increased by 2.5 billion Namibian dollars to 68.6 billion Namibian dollars compared to 66.1 billion Namibian dollars estimated in the main budget. The development budget will remain unchanged at 6.5 billion Namibian dollars for the current financial period. However, the execution rate on the development budget at mid-year stood at 32.6%. Moving over to the Republicans, page 3, Finance Minister Ipumbushimi decried the status of state-owned enterprises, saying a number of them are being run below expectation. Shimi made known his unhappiness during the launch of the SOE ownership policy framework that will seek to properly define the government's role in managing and owning SOEs. According to Shimi, the policy framework would, among others, seek to clarify why, when, and how the state should own public enterprises, to outline measures to ensure sound financial management and sustainability, to outline measures to curtail any forms of corruption and other irregularities, and lastly, to outline the roles and responsibilities of the Board of Directors and management. A series of consultative meetings was now planned to provide sufficient knowledge on the policy. Moving over to the Allgemeine Zeitung's front page, according to Finance Minister Ipumbushimi, the state will be able to record higher tax revenues for the rest of the current year. The key interest rate increases this year also led to a rise in interest rates on debt. Here's an overview in brief. The state budget for 2023 to 2025 provides for 84.4 billion Namibian dollars, divided into 66.1 billion Namibian dollars for current expenditures, 6.5 billion dollars for development projects, $10 billion for debt repayment, and $2 billion financed outside the budget. On page 2, the Namibian Minister of Agriculture, Carl Schlettwein, has called for the implementation of the Nairobi Declaration at the so-called Water Week in Cairo shortly before the upcoming climate summit, COP28 in Dubai. This serves as a guideline for all the measures needed to tackle the climate crisis, the financial and debt crisis, and the development crisis in Africa. That brings us to the end of the first half of our newspaper review. After the break, we take a look at the second half. Stay tuned.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Continuing with our newspaper review segment, the Namibian reports that a judgment on a constitutional challenge of the criminalization of sexual acts between men is due to be delivered in the Windhoek High Court in May 2024. This is after 3 judges of the High Court yesterday reserved their judgment, having heard oral arguments in a case in which the court is being asked to declare the common law criminalization of male anal sex and unnatural sexual offences as unconstitutional and invalid. Judge Nate Ndawendapo, who heard the arguments with judges Shafimana Moitele and Claudia Claassen said the court would hand down its judgment on the 17th of May. In the case argued before the three judges yesterday, a gay Namibian man, Friedel Dalsab, is asking the court to declare the common law offences of sodomy and unnatural sexual offences as unconstitutional and invalid. On to the paper's page 3, National Democratic Party leader Martin Lukato has implored his party's new councillor, Mukendwa Simasiku, not to become an instrument to the people, but to represent the interests of the party and its electorate to the fullest. Simasiku was officially sworn in to represent the NDP at the Katima Mulilo Council yesterday. The party elected Simasiku to replace Watson Kalaluka was recalled after being found guilty on multiple charges of misconduct in July. Simasiku was sworn in by Magistrate Devi Kambinda. The New Era's lead story reports that while maintaining a hard line on parastatals, relying on government handouts, Finance Minister Ipumbushimi allocated an additional $250 million to the struggling meat corporation Meatco. Shimi announced this yesterday while delivering the mid-year budget review statement for the 2023-2024 financial year. Regarding stock of guarantees, we do not envisage further significant disbursement in the short term except for an additional $250 million guarantee in favor of Meatco during the current financial year, he announced. On New Era's page 3, the farmers in all 8 constituencies of the Zambezi region will soon receive tractors from the Agriculture Ministry to cater to their ploughing needs. The region recently received a total of 32 ploughing tractors from the government, which are currently parked at the Kalimbeza Rice Project for safekeeping before they are distributed to needy farmers around the region. Agriculture Ministry spokesperson Jonah Musheko yesterday confirmed that the ministry is busy with the final touches before disbursement of the tractors can commence. Market Watch reports that the Namibian Building Workers' Pension, an umbrella fund for the construction sector, recognizes the challenges faced by the construction sector and its impact on employers and employees. With the sector experiencing a significant downturn in recent years, many workers have faced job insecurity and a lack of social protection. This has led to the withdrawal of accumulated savings for immediate needs of business ventures. Despite these challenges, the NBWPF is committed to empowering individuals with the knowledge and tools to secure a financially stable future. Now, there is some sort of relief for South African motorists as South Africa cuts fuel prices. We find out by just how much in economic news coming up after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
In today's economic news, the price of both grades of unleaded petrol, 93 and 95 in South Africa, were lowered by R1.78 a litre effective today, while diesel wholesale prices were cut by between 82 cents and 85 cents depending on the sulfur content. The maximum national retail price of paraffin fell by R1.30 a litre, but the maximum retail price for LP gas increased by R1.49 a kilogram. The average international prices for petrol and diesel decreased during the period under review, the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy said in a statement on Monday. Now let's take a look at the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 22.65 to the British pound, 19.72 to the euro, 18.71 to the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 56 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. Namibia Breweries Limited stocks took a downturn of 0.01%, while the rest of the selected NSX stock closing prices maintained. Local index and overall index close both took a dip of 0.02% and 0.15% respectively. Looking at commodities, gold and Brent crude oil took an upturn, while copper and platinum both took dips of 0.89% and 1% respectively. After the break, we bring you news from the rest of the African continent.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news both on the WTA for women's and
We now expand beyond Namibia's borders to give you the latest news from the African continent here on NMH at 1. Chad's military government and one of its main opponents, Success Masra, signed an agreement on Tuesday for his return after a year in forced exile following a bloody protest, Congolese mediation announced in Kinshasa. The agreement in principle was signed in Kinshasa between the transition government and the political party Le Transformateur to allow the return to Chad of its president, Success Masra, announced the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, in a press release. The latter is a facilitator of the Economic Community for Central African States for the transition process in Chad. Nothing has been said about the content of the agreement or the date of Masra's return. Like several other opposition leaders, he was forced to flee his country a few days after General Mahamat Idriss Deby Itno's government violently repressed opposition demonstrations on October 20th, 2022. Between 50, according to the authorities, and at least 300 people, according to NGOs, and the opposition had perished, almost all of them young men and teenagers killed by police and military bullets in Jamena, according to these national and international NGOs. Stick around, international news coming up after the break.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Heading straight into our international news, a number of foreigners and critically wounded people were set to leave the Gaza Strip under a Qatari-mediated deal today as Israeli forces push their offensive against Hamas militants in the besieged Palestinian enclave. The deal reached between Egypt, Israel and Hamas followed another day of bloodshed in Gaza in which an Israeli airstrike killed about 50 people in a refugee camp, according to Palestinian health officials. Israel said the attack killed the senior Hamas commander and other combatants. Communications and internet services were completely cut off in Gaza again on Wednesday, telecommunications provider Paltal said. Israel sent its forces into Gaza following weeks of air and artillery bombardments in retaliation for a deadly attack by Hamas, which controls Gaza on southern Israel, on 7 October. Israel has vowed to wipe out Hamas, but the civilian death toll in Gaza and the desperate humanitarian conditions have caused great concern across the world as food, fuel, drinking water and medicine run short and hospitals struggle to treat casualties. Stick around after the break, we bring you local sports news.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Heading into our local sports news this afternoon, former world title challenger Namibian boxer Jeremiah Nakatila is set to face undefeated junior welterweight prospect Ernesto Mercado of America on the 11th of November in a 10-round main event in Ontario. Namibian coach Woody Jacobs is having a positive impact on his newly promoted side Matebele Football Club in Botswana Premier League as they lead the log. Following a dodgy deal that left the town of Papua without a sports facility, residents have taken matters into their own hands to raise funds in a bid to construct a new Newman Katutua Stadium. International sports coming right up. World champions Spain ruthlessly dispatched Switzerland 7-1 in the Women's Nations League on Tuesday, while England's hopes of progression were dented by Belgium. Brazilian forward Vinicius Jr. has signed a new contract with Real Madrid that runs until 2027, the Spanish club announced on Tuesday. Thousands of South Africans braved cold, wet weather to greet the Rugby World Cup winning Springboks when they arrived in Johannesburg on Tuesday. Many wore green and gold, the colours of the national team, as they filled every available space at OR Tambo Airport to greet the record 4-time world champions. If you're just joining us, this is NMH